At the end of the day, I will always love cam upping. No matter what job I'm doing, I will always, even if I'm not booked to film, I will show up with a camera. But in my head, £20 was like, whoa, we've made it. Like,
Yeah,
20
yeah, yeah,
minutes.
yeah. 20 pounds is
I
20.
remember when I
Yeah.
saw like a £20 note, like someone gave me one and I went, for me? I was
Yeah.
like, oh. Someone else from the team, I think, or someone else shooting there had seen me get it. They looked at me, they went, I know that was going to be a good shot. And I was like, I hope so. And I looked back at it later, I was like, yes. No one's going to look at me and immediately assume, oh, she's a cam op or a videographer or a DP. They're going to look at me and think, oh, she must be the makeup artist because she's wearing makeup.
Also, too, I feel like you got tough skin. So I feel like you're one of those people who's like, oh, I'll show you. Like, you want to. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sarah and I met each other a couple months ago in a whole other country. And it was cool getting to know her there. And it was cool getting to sit down and talk to her here. She is a creative through and through. I know her primarily as a DOP and a camera person that does amazing work at festivals and concerts, but she also does a bunch of other things. So if you guys do enjoy this and want to get some insight into that life, please stick around, like and subscribe if you guys get some value out of this content, and enjoy the episode. Well, thank you for being on. I know how busy you are.
It has been busy. It has been busy. But you
It
know
has
what?
been.
It's a bit chill right now, which is weird because we're about to head into summer and it's usually now that it starts to get really busy. But for some reason this year for me, it's like, it's calming down now. It's going to get crazy again, but got a bit of downtime.
Yeah,
It's nice.
I feel like for you it gets crazy kind of often, no? Like
It
how
does.
like how much is that? Yeah, like how much is downtime? I feel like it's like a week maybe for you.
Do you know, it's hard. I feel like it's so sporadic. It's like, I'll think I've got 2 weeks and then before I know it, I have 1 day. So it's kind of, it's one of those. So right now I'm saying, oh, I've got loads, like in April, I've not got much going on. But I say that now, but I reckon within the first week of April, I'll have ended up filling pretty much the whole month with last minute bits and pieces. So who knows? Who
Is that
knows?
usually your schedule? Like it's kind of you have to keep it open, you know, a couple things a couple months in advance.
It's kind of a bit of both. It kind of depends. Sometimes, I mean, a lot of it, especially in the music industry, I feel like creative fields in general can be quite like sporadic. Like even just now before we jumped on here, I got a last minute booking for tomorrow and it's just kind of like, that's just normal. Like that's just how it goes. But then other projects, some of them are booked like months and months in advance. It just all depends on what the project is. But I'd say for me, I feel like it's fairly 50-50 on like the last minute sporadic versus
Yeah.
like the super pre-planned, booked in, locked in, months in advance. So I feel like it's a fun little balance of both for me, I feel.
No, I was just asking if it's a little too crazy sometimes when you're traveling.
Oh yeah, I feel like sometimes it can be, but I think when those sort of moments hit where I start to think like, this is a bit much, I could do with my bed right now, I do then just think like, on the flip side, if I wasn't busy or doing what I'm doing right now, I'd be thinking the opposite. I feel like it's
Yeah.
quite a common, it's not really exclusively creatives, but I think it's very like big within creatives to always want what you're not having, but not in a negative way, in a positive way of like, if you're not busy, you want to be busy, but then sometimes you push yourself to be too busy and then you sort of hit a point where you're like, okay, maybe I've gone a bit too far now. I should have pulled it back a little bit. But it's
Yeah.
hard to preemptively know that balance until you're actively in it, if that makes any sense. But
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah. But there are
And
definitely moments where I'm like, okay, it's a bit too crazy, but I do quite enjoy the crazy. I kind of love it. So
yeah,
that's
okay.
why it works out.
You know what? That's perfect. Let's just watch just so people know what you do like off the bat right now. Just because we're talking about all this craziness and they're probably like, what does she do? Like taking, you know what I mean? Like what kind
It's
of
gonna be
crazy?
videos of me backflipping with a camera rig in my
Yeah, there's like you didn't know she's an Olympian.
Imagine.
It's like what the fuck?
That would be the
Okay.
best side quest.
I know you've been side questing a lot, which is like
I love a side quest.
you love a good side quest. Okay, let's do the 2025 show reel because I feel like I wanted to talk about some stuff anyways. So. so wild, actually. So wild.
You.
Year 2025 is crazy.
So, you know, it was a very good year. I loved it.
Like good in terms of what from your perspective? What made it better than the year before?
Oh, a lot of things. I think both years were great. Though 2024 was great as well. I think last year was a standout year because I think, as with general progression of a career, I was sort of leveling up the sort of caliber of clients and jobs, and not only the clients, but the roles at which I had for those clients. Because there was companies, brands, festivals that I'd worked for previous years prior to 2025, but last year was a big pivot point where I was in more of a position of creative power and direction, whereas prior I was maybe booked as just a cam up under another person's creative. So like a big thing last year was I joined up with a business partner to activate Skitch, which is the production company, which was where we won the wireless bid, and we did all coverage for Wireless Festival 2025, which was a huge one because it was the 20th year anniversary and it was the Drake takeover, which is huge. And you're
Wow.
Canadian, I remember that.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. For anyone, yeah. I like how you just threw that one in. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And you're Canadian.
Yeah, the
Literally not relevant at all to this story other than Drake, but there we go, a bit of love for Canada. But yeah, that one was like really big because it was like we we produced it all, and that was the first time I'd done that to that scale at least. And obviously it's a huge one. I think in the UK, especially, wireless is like, for people who work within my sort of field, wireless is one of those ones where it's like, this is the one I want to do. Like it's a dream festival to do at some point in some capacity. And I've actually never done it before. It was one of the only festivals that I'd never worked for in any capacity. Well, I was there in 2024 with an artist, but aside from that, as indirectly for the festival, I'd actually never worked it. So to do what we did last year, was like amazing. And it was so much fun as well. Like we had a great time.
so for anyone who's trying to want Sketch, that's creative agency. You guys do a bunch of work with a bunch of different companies. Are like just a whole is huge. And you're head of content, correct?
Yep.
I had questions about that too. Like what, and you're talking about so many different jobs that you've done. What does head of content do? And like what did you do specifically for wireless?
Essentially, it was my predominant role. So I was the head, like the lead cam op, because at the end of the day, I will always love cam opping. No matter what job I'm doing, I will always, even if I'm not booked to film, I will show up with a camera. So I can't help myself. But aside from that, my role was sort of assisting in, well, from the back end, it was, creating the pre-production alongside my business partner and our producer, and curating like the strategic plans, the social plans, what we decided were key moments to highlight as, live moments that would go out live in time. And then coming up with, we wanted to go for a slightly different approach to the after movie that would just stand out a bit more, like including some, interactive VFX elements that were relevant to the artist. And I feel like those are little sort of things that get overlooked within the after movie community a lot. Because after movies are like, we love, like, the traditional like high cut to like super high energy songs. Um, but we wanted to go for a slightly different approach. I mean, I guess by explanation, it is still like a high energy, recap of the event, but we sort of wanted to go for a more creative, sort of a bit more of a, oh, this feels a bit different to usual vibe. So I played part in sort of organizing that, crewing up, deciding like who was going to shoot what, doing like all the crew schedules for all the cam ops, which was funny because I'm like a granny. I was sat at the laptop trying to make timetables for everyone. Like, guys, I don't know how this works, but we got there eventually. But yeah, no, it's quite fun. I enjoy it.
I feel like that stuff is I don't know. I don't enjoy that stuff. I like the
Mm.
scheduling. I think that's like always kind of crazy and the tough and I've was that is that a as hard part for you because you're such a creative, you're such a cam op, like you love the visuals and doing stuff like that where you're at the computer and timetables and
Yeah.
times. Is that the stuff that you're like, I'm not feeling?
Do you know what kind of? But I think, well, it's weird because I'm definitely not like a office job inclined person, which I guess it kind of
Yeah.
is like sitting down at a laptop making like timetables. But I think I'm quite big on like organization. I like to be very organized. I think in my own personal life, like I live by reminders and notes and all of that. So I guess it to me, it was kind of just felt like I was organizing my own life, but for like 30 people. But
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
wasn't actually, and we had our amazing producer who was assisting as well. And she played a big part in like doing the overall schedules and making like the actual spreadsheets. I just kind of did the independent, like the cam ops schedules of like who to shoot and when and what their, car drop off times and little bits like that. But she really dealt with the like nitty gritty, like Excel spreadsheet stuff. Cause I took one look at it and I went, there's too many numbers. I can't do this.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, get this out of my face. I'm not dealing with it. Yeah, 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 yeah. You just
But
said
no,
you
I,
have your
I can
camera.
lock in if I need to lock in. But
Yeah.
we have a amazing producer and people we work with who they're more specialized in that. So I'm a big believer in if it's not my specialty, I'm gonna let the person whose specialty it is deal with it. I'm not gonna try and take everything from my to do with myself. I'm learning healthy self boundaries with taking on what I can, but also understanding that I can't do everything because I'm a human.
Yeah, yeah. And then the worst thing is like, you end up doing it and they're like, "Oh, Sarah, this is completely wrong." And you're like, "Well, I just wasted." You know what I mean? You're like, "I just wasted hours of my life doing this for you guys when you
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
could have just
yeah.
done this." Yeah. So, oh man. Okay. Okay, let's take it back then because that's what you're doing now. And we'll come back to that. But I want to know like you started in photography, correct?
Yes,
And
I
this was like
did.
6 years ago, 7 years ago, maybe?
I think over 7 years ago now.
Oh,
Yeah.
and 7 years ago. And then you got into the video side of things. And then I remember we were talking, um, and you said that you really enjoy video now, like the
Yeah.
just a little bit over photos. And yeah, so can you talk about that journey, like the photography and then getting into the video and how you got into it?
It was quite a weird little story. Go like a good weird, not bad weird, good weird.
Yeah,
But
I
it
was
was
like,
like all of
I don't know if we're
it
really
was
gonna
actually
talk
really
about this.
problematic.
Yeah.
No, it was great. It was a really good little natural sort of pivot I had into the industry as a whole. Because to try and summarize a life story here, when I was in education, I studied music and I was a drummer, which is very random. I
Oh,
haven't
really?
Yeah, I haven't played it since I left though. Like I haven't touched a kit. I left and I said never again, which is
Oh,
a serious.
but if you're in front of one, you can let it rip and
I
you're
don't know. Apparently muscle memory sticks, so hopefully, but it's been like I finished education when I was 18 and I never touched a kit again because I think studying music ruined the enjoyment for me, which is why I'm quite glad I didn't study what I do now for work because I feel like maybe in a parallel universe, if I would have studied it, would I be doing what I'm doing now? Maybe it would have ruined it for me as well. But who
yeah, yeah,
knows?
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I studied music and when I was a teenager, became like a very big active person in the music industry. But not working, just I was a fan. Like I loved music and this was back in the time period where I'm making myself sound like a
Yeah, I'm
50-year-old.
like
Back in my day. No, this was back back however many years ago, not that long ago, but long enough ago where ticket prices for shows were like very cheap or free. Like I used to go to free shows all the time because the music industry was so different to where it is now. And all this stuff about
yeah.
people, like I've seen a lot of discourse online about artists charging like £200-300 for tickets. Like as a teenager, obviously I would not have been able to afford that. Like I couldn't even afford like a £5 ticket most of the time. I was scavenging on the floor for pennies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was going to a lot of shows. They were free often. And through going to them, I like unintentionally made like a friendship, but essentially a network community of up and coming musicians, like passionate artists, creatives in general, because that's sort of the pocket of people who were going to those sort of like undergroundy shows at that point in time was mainly creatives and people who had like a passion for creativity and music specifically. Um, and when I finished education, my grades went downhill a little bit. I passed, but barely. Um, but I was sort of in the debate of my parents really wanted me to go university. I could not think of doing anything worse with my life. So I told them I would take a gap year, which was not true. But I said that just to keep everyone happy. And I gave myself an ultimatum and I said to myself, I'm going to give myself a year if I can find some sort of career that's feasible, realistic, and like I enjoy it, I'm gonna commit and stick to it and not go to university. If within this year though, I don't do any of the above and I waste my time or I can't find something I enjoy or I just can't figure my shit out, then I'm gonna force myself to go to university. Which me being stubborn to myself, knowing that I wouldn't like I would not want to go to university, I just basically like really, really locked in. Um really locked in, went a bit crazy with it. But I bought a point and shoot film camera. It was the Olympus MJU Mark II, which I think I still have it. It's on this shelf behind me, that little silver one there.
Oh,
My first ever camera. She started it all.
what?
But I think I got it for like 20 quid off eBay. And it's just a point and shoot. Like there's we just literally
Yeah.
but I started taking it to when I finished education, I continued going to these shows. So I knew it was an environment where I was like meeting people who were within the realm I wanted to be in to some degree, but I had no career plan. When I bought that camera, I bought it for fun. Just, how people take a casual fun camera around with them and their friends. And I started taking like portrait style photos backstage and, while I was hanging out with people who were at the time up and coming artists. And I made like what was meant to be essentially a shit posting Instagram account because I was like, oh, I don't want this on my personal feed where I've got like, pictures of me and my friends of these like random rappers. So I was like, oh, I'll just make like a shit post account and then just throw them all up there. And, if people want to see them, they want to see it. Um, and before I knew it, it kind of just got like a lot of followers in a very small amount of time.
What? That's
And
crazy.
people within, I think, like a month of me posting pictures were messaging me like, how much do you charge for a shoot? And I was like, charge? I can
Yeah,
make
yeah, yeah.
money.
You're like,
I
what?
I literally had no idea. I thought people made money from selling prints. Like I didn't know you charge for shoots. I had no perception of anything. I had no idea what was going on. But I took a shot in the dark and I thought maybe this is what maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. So yeah, started out.
And it was it. And it was it.
That was it. Just shooting on a point and shoot film camera, making a loss every time as well. Because I was charging like I think I was charging 20 quid for like a 12-hour shoot, but then paying for film and development myself. But in my head, £20 was like, "Whoa, we've
Yeah,
made
yeah,
it."
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
20
yeah, yeah,
minutes.
yeah. 20
I
pounds is 20.
remember when I
Yeah.
saw like a £20 note, like someone gave me one and I went, "For me?" I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
"Oh." Could not like fathom it. I was like, "Oh my God, money." Like I think I remember later on, I'd never seen a £50 note in my life. Like I don't know if you guys have I don't know what you've got in Canada, but we've got like I don't know what it looks like nowadays, but back then it was like a red £50 note. I think it was red. But I'd never seen one in my life before. Cause like I'd never had that I never had money. So I was just like, someone paid me £50 note and I was like, is this fake? What is that? Like
Yeah,
I did
yeah, yeah, yeah. Look,
that's £50, Jar. I was like, oh, had no idea. But it just started from there. And then I continued going on, eventually realized that shooting film, as much as I loved the look of it, was not very practical. And because I noticed I kept making losses, which obviously I should have charged for development and film.
yeah.
But back then, again, no business knowledge, no knowledge of anything really. I was just kind of doing something I found passion in and making it work how I could. But I did end up saving up. I was still living with my parents, luckily, so I managed to save money enough to buy my first digital camera, which was I think it was the A6000, the Sony A6000, I think. And that obviously opened up a whole new avenue of work to me because I could take on more jobs, like I could deliver
Yeah.
shoots same day or within 24 hours. And it meant I could do so much more with my time. And on top of that, I then started to experiment with video because I thought, I've got a camera. Why, instead of limiting myself to just doing stills, let me just see what video is all about. Like, I noticed that there wasn't many people doing it either, whereas photography was starting to become a bit of a trend. And I don't mean trend in a negative way. I just mean people were starting to notice it was like a job they could make good money from and it was fun. So it became a much more saturated industry. And over time, I did start to try and actively pay a bit more attention, have a little bit more of a business mindset to things, just trying to like figure everything out. And I was like, you know what? I feel like video is like a really fun industry that is still fairly lucrative at that time. Cause this was I think when I started to venture into video was about a year in, so maybe 6 years ago. Working, like, specifically mainly in music and, like, at that time, it was a lot of, like, underground, like, UK underground, sort of a bit more, like, edgy sort of stuff, which was a very small like, not many people were shooting those sort of things, and, yeah, it again, same sort of thing happened, like, with the photos where I started doing it to just dabble out of curiosity and to just experiment for myself, and it ended up becoming a thing that people wanted to pay for. Obviously, like, my first few videos were dog shit, as anyone's are, I hope, at least. They
Yeah.
were pretty like, when I look back now, I'm like, "Ooh," feel a bit bad for
Let's
taking
watch it. No,
but yeah,
that is
it's just how it goes. And then obviously over time, like, you build your skills and then, from saving, buy new kit, expand my knowledge, do a bit more studying in like my own time, go to seminars, go to events, went to conventions, spoke to people. And I think talking to people really helped me get a lot of knowledge because, yeah, I didn't study. So I had my only methods of learning was to do like
Yeah.
was trial and error sort of thing. But talking to people really helps. Just meeting friends who are really talented and just picking their brains all the time. I probably got really annoying with it to be fair, 'cause always like, what about this?" But
Yeah.
I
Oh
can't
my
help.
god, this girl again? They're like, "Oh, she's
I show up and
coming
they're like,
back."
"Damn it!" But yeah, no, it was yeah. That was basically. Sorry, I said I'd summarize. I realized that wasn't a very good summary because I spoke for
No,
so.
don't worry, don't worry.
That
This is
was
good. This
the
is like I'm
story.
so interested about the journey. I feel like because you never know. We watch your 2025 show reel, and it's like, how does someone get to this point? Is I think is so interesting, and you probably don't realize it because these past 6 years have gone by so fast. You probably look at it like, wait, what happened? Like it's half a
This is
decade
true.
already of just, and you can remember all those times where you bought the camera, you go into these things with your friends, getting your first job. It's actually
Yeah.
cool to see. Yeah, it's so interesting. Uppbeat has an affordable pro subscription plan that will cover any client content, and you gain access to their full library of pro grade assets. So if you guys are looking to tell professional stories, you guys can use a link down in the description or the pinned comment, and you guys can also get 20% off. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you guys are enjoying this podcast. So let's get back to it. For a lot of these, when you do these concerts and festivals, there's such a variety of shots that you get.
Mhm.
Because I can't understand what you guys go through, or is like how are things planned? Are you stationed at a certain place? Do you just get free reign to just la di da and you're just firing off? And how do you choose if you do that? Like walk around, how do you know what shots are the good shots? How do you know like, okay, I gotta get some up close by the stage. I gotta get some of these wide shots. You have like this cool shot. Actually, let me bring it up. So like, see how like okay, you have such a variety of different shots.
Mhm.
Um, like this is so cool. Like to go
Thank
to
you.
the back, and it's weird because if I go to festivals as not like I'm working it, but as a thing, I have the urge to like jump around with them. So my shots are always like this. You know what I mean? And you're like, what am I? You watch it back, you're like, what does this look like? Like this is so garbage. But then you have like such a variety of different, even knowing when the lights are coming or the fire's coming on and getting
Mhm.
silhouette shots, things like this up close. And like this looks super wide to me.
It
I
was,
don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, right. And are you switching? Okay, so that's why I have so much questions. Like, are
Mhm.
you switching lenses? Like, what do you know? Do you have specific lenses in your mind that you're like, okay, I'm going to the front. I want to get this wide. I want to. Is that how it works in your head?
Yeah, so to answer the initial question about,
Yeah. Sorry,
how
I
we
asked like
w
like
no,
15
no worries.
questions at once.
No, I like it. It's good 'cause I'm sort of the same. I'm like, "Oh, what about this? Oh, but what about this? Oh, but what about this?" I'm exactly the same. So I get you. But with knowing where to stand or what the layout is or, where we're shooting from, it's different for each. So if it's one that I'm in charge so for wireless where, like, we were producing it and we handled everything, I had come up with the schedule of who was gonna be where and what the rotations were, and if we needed certain shots where people were gonna be to make sure every angle's covered. For this example, though, the Rolling Loud Cali staff, I was hired on as a cam op by the team. So it was free reign for me. It wasn't as we were given schedules of which artists needed because obviously at the end of the day, every artist needs to get covered, or, there's a list of key artists that will need to be covered for a festival. So it's important to ensure everyone does. So I was given my list of artists, which differed from different stages and locations and other little pick-uppy bits. With that, the way I approach it, because it's a bit more free roam, which I really like in those situations, is I'll go in the morning and we usually do a site walk, or I'll just take myself and look at the stages, look at the layout, look at the shooting pit, the heights of the stage, just get a feel for the environment and where I think my favorite shooting points and perspectives are going to be. And when I'm there, because I've been shooting for a while now, so you at a point you learn to get a gauge for what lenses will look best from where. So for example, the first shot in that slide, yeah, so this one I shot from the T-zone bit of the shooting pit. So if you've got a stage at the front, if I'll do a side on, you've
Yeah.
got the walkway through the middle and then the T-zone walkway, which is like this. So I was at the T-zone walkway, which is behind like the first chunk of crowd, which usually are going to be the most hype and jumping because
Yeah.
they're usually either like mega fans or people who've paid for VIP, so they're really dedicated, or you know people who are there at the barricades early at a festival to get a good spot. So there'll be good energy from the crowd at that point. And this was during Playboy Carti's set, which obviously, like, always insane, always insane. Um, and I knew there was people up by the actual stage getting close-ups, and I just thought, this is a really good opportunity to get wides with the branding in of the stage at the top, with the crowd jumping, and then with all the production going on in the middle. Because that's
Yeah.
another thing is over time, you get a gauge for when production will go off, like pyro, CO2, fireworks, sprinklers. You don't always know. Sometimes it comes as a surprise. I've definitely had my fair few jump scares from them while I'm on stage. I had a really funny video from Wireless actually when Drake was performing and there was a really unexpected like on stage firework, but it was really loud. And I have the raw footage on my camera and you just hear me go, "Ha, fuck," behind the camera. Like I was so scared. I was not expecting it. And it was a very funny video. But usually I can sort of tell when it's about to happen. And just frame up, get the shot like this. It was a really nice moment because you had those nice cross-framing fireworks and then all the other bits, and then the crowd jumping and the branding. It's just sort of
Yeah.
those little things. So I think initially I was definitely a big, like, a very common thing is to always just want to get, like, the up close artist moments. So if the artist is on stage, you wanna be in the shooting pit or on stage getting them. But actually at festivals or shows where there's lots of production going on, like pyro or CO2 or cool lighting, actually the wides look insane, especially if there's a really good crowd as well. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's so good.
Yeah, I feel like with the crowd, I don't know, you really get the vibe. Like, there's just so much energy, I feel like,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And, like, how many lenses are you and how many cameras are on you?
Yeah, so for my camera, so I have 2 cameras actually, that I use. My first one is I have the A1 Mark One, which I actually got pretty much just when it first got released, like a few months after, which was, if anybody knows, a very, very expensive purchase. But I knew it would be really worth it because it's, in my opinion, I don't know if this is a factual comment or not, so I'm just gonna say in my opinion to avoid any dramas,
Yep, yep, yep,
the
yep.
best hybrid camera on the market for photo and video. Um, it's, like, insanely good. I have only good things to say about that camera. However, I did end up buying the FX3, like, over a year ago, I think now, which is quite late on in my career to get the FX3, but in my opinion, the A1 and the FX3 are almost identical. The only difference is the dual native is lower on the A1, so when it's dark, dark lighting or, like, low light environments, the FX3 performs better than the A1, which in live music, sometimes the A1 did struggle, which that amongst also it's just better to have the same camera amongst crew. I was like, "Let me just get the FX3. I think it's time."
Yeah.
Um, so nowadays, I do tend to only really use the FX3 for video jobs and the A1 if it's like a hybrid or if there's gonna be or if I just need an extra camera getting like B cam. Um, and lenses wise, for these Rolling Loud ones, I carried on myself, which is a bit heavy, but I think I had the Sony 24-70, the 70-200, and then my Laowa 10 mil. The Laowa 10 mil is the
10
one that
mil.
I got that low angle shot of the artist, like, stepping down, that 3rd one, I think, yeah. So that was on honestly, like, such an insane lens. It's the Laowa 10mm lens. It's a really, really good price.
Yeah,
Um, and it's autofocused. I think it's the widest autofocus lens on the market, I
that's
think,
crazy.
but
Yeah.
it's really good for these moments. And this to be fair, another thing is getting to capture, like, happy accidents because I was getting that wide moment, not knowing he was gonna step down onto the subs and, get that shot. I wish I would have framed it a little bit lower so I could have got
Lower
his
to
feet
get a
stepping
feet.
over.
Yeah.
It's always those little things, but this was such a spontaneous shot to capture. Like, I'd literally hit record as I saw it look like he was about to step forwards. Quite often as well, I'll get shots where I think I'm
Something's
guessing
gonna
the movement they're
happen.
gonna do, and they don't
Him.
do what I'm gonna do, so you just get, like, a random shot of, like, a a not so good movement. But it's those sort of you kind of learn to read the movement and body language of artists dependent on what sort of genre or style of performer they are.
That's
Um,
crazy. That's so cool, actually. That's because
yeah.
it's
I
like
feel like
those
it's
little
psychology
moments.
studying.
Yeah, no, it really is actually because every performer is different, every energy is different, like where they are in their set. It could also be, I don't know, if there's more energy right off the bat in the beginning. Um, but like yeah, it's so cool because like even the hair coming down, like it almost looks like it's
It looks so good.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I remember when I got that shot, I can't remember someone else from the team, I think, or someone else shooting there had seen me get it. They looked at me, they went, "I know that's gonna be a good shot." And I was like, "I hope so." And I looked back at it later, I was like, "Yes."
Yeah, you're like,
'Cause sometimes you don't know if you've got it in those really fast moments where you're like, "Shit, record, quickly, do the settings, like, flip the camera out." It's like, I don't even know if I got it, but I'm hoping.
yeah, because you have to are you switching settings often and fast?
Yeah, it depends. With sort of this stage, for example, during daytime, it was fairly consistent, so while you've got similar lighting, it's when it gets to nighttime, fire's a really hard one,
Mm,
because when the flames go off, obviously it gets really overexposed. So this one, actually, I used silhouetting to my advantage, so I actually exposed more for the
for
fire. But if you're
yeah.
in an environment where imagine this guitarist was lit up, you then have to decide in the moment, do I want it what do I want to expose for? Do I want his face to be nice and clear, but then the flames are gonna be blown out? Do I wanna find, like, a middle ground where, like, it's a little bit underexposed in his face, but a little bit overexposed in the flames? Or do I wanna fully silhouette it? Do I want just the flames to be so it is kind of it it's like, it's like a Rubik's Cube is how I explain it sometimes. Because 'cause I've learned in an environment like that, or say all of a sudden a bright spotlight goes on the artist, you have to super quickly, like, flick a bunch of buttons to get that
Yeah.
exposure, so you don't wanna miss a moment. Say a moment's happening, actively happening that you're capturing, or you're about to get, like, a perfect shot. I've basically set preset buttons on my camera, so I can just click the buttons, so I know in different lighting environments what works. So it's kind of trying to quick route it as much as I can, but
And
yeah.
and when are you doing these preset buttons? Are you changing? Because I feel like that could also change too. There's so much different
Mm,
sets and stuff like that. Is it
yeah,
like the
yeah.
beginning of the set, you're like, "Okay, cool, boom, boom, boom. This is kinda what it looks like. Let me preset this,"
Mhm.
and then get yeah, it's like right off
It's
the bat.
I sort of have them pre-put on my camera. So, for example, on the FX3, when you get the camera, I think it's button 3. I can't actually remember. I don't even remember what the names are, but I just remember where the buttons are on the camera. But I think it's number 3 is automatically set to your, base and your dual ISO.
ISO, yeah. I think that's
Yeah.
ISO, and then button 2 is, like, white balance. Like,
Yeah.
that's the one further in,
Yeah, yeah, but
and then
you can change those to be what you need. I you can they're essentially just preset buttons, so you can build them to be what you need. So on my A1, for example, I had one of the presets was for low light concert stuff. One was for daytime, like daylight stuff, and then the third was I think in between. But it's sort of set so and it's not perfect. Obviously, every daytime is different. Like, daylight isn't a consistent, like, exposure, if that makes any sense. Because
yeah,
daylight
it's
in
always
a sunny
changing.
place versus cloudy versus 2 p.m. versus 5 p.m., it's all different, but it's more just having a quick base I can get to easily and then just do minor tweaks rather than having to do, like, a full camera rejig of ISO, aperture, shutter, everything,
Yeah.
like, rather than having to do it all, it's just a bit faster, but it is all kind of every environment is a bit on your toes, which I kind of enjoy. It makes it fun for me, but it can be stressful, but it is fun.
Yeah, and I guess, like, over time, you just kind of know. You're just on
Yeah.
point, right? Because you've seen so many lighting setups during all times of the day, I'm assuming, at
Yeah.
all different types of stages, so I feel like, a bit of practice is good, goes a long way.
Yeah. I think it really is muscle memory as well, 'cause I couldn't a lot of the time, I can't answer, like, a technical question, like a verbal technical question, but if somebody's asking me like, I can do something, but I'm not as good at explaining or, like, talking about technicality stuff, which I think comes from probably not studying it in, like, a educational manner, but I'm definitely I think I don't do too well with, like, education stuff like, academics
Like,
or
teach me. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I'm just like, I can show you, but if I can't actually tell you like, even just then me trying to remember what preset number is, I press it multiple times a day every day I'm working, but I don't know I couldn't tell you without looking at my camera what
Yeah.
it is. But I think that some people are just wired non-academically. I think I'm much more creatively inclined than academically inclined. Um, which I'm also trying to break down the stigmas that you need to know, like, all the technical everythings to everything you're doing, and you need to be super, like, film nerded out about stuff. I'm a big believer in, like, if your content looks good and if the job's getting done well,
Yeah.
that's all that really matters.
Actually,
Yeah.
surprisingly, I talked to a lot of creators, and even early on with some of the podcast episodes, I'd ask them. I guess I'm more of like a technical person because I went to
Mhm.
film school, which
Mm.
uh, so that's just kind of how I'm wired. But then they're like, honestly, Kev, I don't even really know. I don't even know tech. I'm like, cool, man. We're going on feeling, and I'm like, I like that. Like
Yeah.
because sometimes and some of the best work is off feeling, really.
Yeah.
And like technically, it's like if you know how to use your gear, if you know where everything is, cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, you might not be the greatest at educating people, but it's like it all looks great, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I think you need to have, like, a level of, like, baseline knowledge, obviously, but, like,
Yeah,
past that,
doesn't
it
matter.
obviously, it helps the more you know, it's better. It's not gonna be bad, but I think when it comes to these environments I've had people, try to, what's the saying? Try to, like, sun me where they're like, "Oh, like, codec this, codec that, this, that," and I'm just like, I don't know the answers to this, but, like, I can get the shot, so, like" but it doesn't bother me, but I'm trying to sort of push that out there a bit more that, like, you don't need to be, like, this super, like, "Oh, bro, like, what codec are you
Yeah,
shooting
yeah.
in? Like, are you tapped in, though? Are you tapped in?" I'm like, "No." Like,
Are
we don't
you
need to do
tapped
that.
in? Like, yeah. Like, get out of my face.
I think I surround myself with really good people though, and I really like the London creative community. I think that's one thing we have really good here is our industry within the camera industry in general. There are so many good eggs. Like I have off the top of my head, I couldn't even tell you actually one bad experience I've had with like another crew member or people like which is a really
Wow.
blessed place to be in. Like I know that's not maybe so common, but I think we've got a really nice community here, and there's a lot going on behind the scenes, um, to bring us together. Like I've thrown a few creative parties, just like nonprofit, just free parties, just to bring people together and have us more in a space and have us working alongside each other, not against each other. I think is really important, which is something in America, for example, I was a bit like, you
It's
guys
a
need
bit
to be more
like
creative.
standoffish, no?
Yeah.
It's very like
It's very competitive, which I
yeah.
understand at the end of the day, there's gonna be times where me and my friends or people I work alongside are gonna be after the same job. So in a literal sense, yes, we're in competition, but that doesn't mean we need to be competitive. We can still be, you know, we can still all we can all eat. It's not like a me or you. It's just
Yeah.
how it goes. And I think you can approach it from a standpoint of oh, like, I wanna beat you. Or you can approach it from a standpoint of like, okay, like, let's help each other and like, whoever gets the job, but like, there'll be so many other opportunities in the
Sure.
future and, if I eat, you eat, we all eat sort of thing, like, we can put each other on for things and, like, I think it's just a much nicer environment to be in general, to work in, to be in. Makes a lot more sense to me. So I like that here, which means I've got very good experiences in the industry, which is nice.
Do you feel like, maybe not so much now, but before, did you feel like it was like a male-dominated field? Like,
Oh, yeah, still now,
still
100%.
now, you probably like, what
100%.
yeah, okay.
I
And is
like,
that
I
tough?
I think, yeah, it's not tough in a sense of like a direct literal way. Like I'm again very lucky to be surrounded by good people, so I've never had a thing where someone's looked at me and gone, "You're a woman. I'm not going to book you." But there is often, I think, a big agenda of like sexism doesn't exist anymore, which is not true. But I think it's obviously not as literal as someone pointing at me and going, "Get back in the kitchen." It's not that literal. So I think people think like,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah, it's like you're fine, you're chilling." Unfortunately, there is like a lot of like microaggression-y things that still exist, and I'm aware that it's hopefully never slash maybe very rarely like intentional, but things like men looking at me with my big rig and going, "Oh, do you want me to hold that for you?" And I'm like, "No, this is my job. I'm good." Like, don't get me wrong, she's heavy, but it's my job. Like, I wouldn't walk up to a man and be like, "Oh, do you want me to carry your camera for you?" So it's those
Yeah.
little things where I'm like,
Honestly, if a girl asked me, I'd be like, "Hell yeah." I don't
no,
care.
I mean, I
I'm dead
I
I'm
would,
jo
I totally
Yeah.
would, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not like
yeah.
I think it's more like an inherent thing where a man will see me with a big camera, and it's not necessarily even people in the industry. Quite often, like it happened just recently, if I'm in a crowd shooting, like random drunk boys will be like, "Oh, do you want me to hold that for you, love?" I'm like, please get away from my camera."
Yeah,
I have
drunk
people try to
ass, yeah.
like a lot, yeah, often they're not sober, but like I've had people try to like not even us, just pull my camera out of my hands, and I'm like, "Yo, give it back."
Yeah, relax, what?
So little things, but I think it's just small things like that, or like the assumption. I think a big one that I was talking to someone about recently is whenever I show up at a shoot with my Pelly case, I if I don't go in and immediately introduce my role, the first 2 roles I am assumed to be is either makeup artist or photographer off the bat every time. And it's my Uber drivers when they collect me for the shoot. It's the production manager when I show up on set. It's the assistants when they're like showing me to where the set builders or whatever. Which again, it's not like bad, but it's those little things where I notice, like, no one's gonna look at me and immediately assume, "Oh, she's a cam op or a videographer or a DP." They're gonna look at me and think, "Oh, she must be the makeup artist because she's wearing makeup." I'm like, "No, I'm not."
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me, but it is kind of one of those things where it does happen so often. I think people obviously wouldn't be aware unless they're experiencing it themselves, which is I'm aware that's completely fair, but yeah, I think it can be tough in those sort of moments where I see, like, men show up to any job and, like, they're never assumed to be hairstylist or makeup artist or photographer. They're predominantly assumed to be DP, cam op, lighting, gaffer. Those it's sort of you can tell in the industry there's roles that people have decided are, like, masculine and feminine, which is really silly to me, but it's just sort of naturally what's happened in society, I guess.
Yeah.
Um But no, I don't struggle though, and I get along really well with people in general. I think I have a good ability to not like if I'm in a room full of like other male crew, I don't really feel any different to if I'm in a room full of women, luckily. But I think that is just from years of it just being my norm. So to me, it's like this is just normal to me. But it's definitely daunting, and I think if there's like women starting out and they're not used to that environment and they get thrown into like these like, so actually, to be often, a really nice thing is when there are other women on crew, we're like, "Oh, the girlies," like, we're all here. It's really nice because you get this
Yeah.
really little community feeling that, like, we're all looking at each other like, "This is rare. We're not usually here together." And then I've formed some really, really beautiful friendships and got some really amazing women in the field through it, which is nice. But we need more. That's a big thing I'm pushing for this year is to try and get more women involved in any aspect, but specifically in video, in shooting, because there's really not a lot of us at all. Luckily, there's the photography is picking up a bit more for women, luckily, but video, it's crazy. There's like barely any of us in London. So yeah,
Yeah.
we're like a
No,
rare pepper.
definitely. That's why I'm so glad that you wanted to jump on,
Mm.
and do this. I think it's also too, I feel like you got tough skin, so I feel like you're one of those people who's like, "Oh, I'll show you." Like, you wanna
Okay.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Do you know what? I would never. I'd be no, no,
No.
but I do. I think I'm quite stubborn though, but not in like I'm gonna start a fight way, but just in the sense of I'm so like I refuse to be treated differently just because
Yeah,
you've
yeah, yeah,
decided
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
something that I'm not. that I'm kind of just like, I'm here. I'm asserting my presence. I'm here with a
Yeah, my
camera. No, I'm a
dominance.
photographer, a
It's my
makeup artist, or a
territory.
hairstylist.
Yeah.
Yeah, which also, by the way, nothing wrong with being a makeup artist or hairstylist. It's more just the
Yeah.
immediate assumption that I am when I'm not. But I'll
Yeah,
take the
yeah, yeah.
compliment that maybe my makeup looks good on a day, but
Yeah, maybe they're
it's
like,
not really
"Damn."
my aim.
Yeah. No, no, that's good. I think I don't know if you into like the actual film industry, but like Sinners, the DP, female, she won Oscar. Yeah, and
Oh,
it's
wow.
yeah, so and it's like the first I don't know, it's the first female.
Oh,
She's
wow.
amazing. And like it's just it's crazy that it's taken so long because I feel like there's so many over the years. Just in general, in the creative field too. Like and also even trying to get people in on the podcast. Like I don't want it to be so male dominated. So it's cool getting women who are like in the industry and doing stuff, and it's just great talking to a lot of you guys and getting your insight. And I think just more needs to be like put on.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's interesting. I think a lot of people still have that backwards mentality of it. And
Mm.
sometimes it's not like they mean to. It's just like, oh, this is just how you're kind of wired. Like you're not trying to be mean about it, but
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
just
Like,
not
it this
like
this is where I'm kind of
educated.
like, I wouldn't get mad at someone for assuming it, but it's one of those things where in the back of my head, I'm like, again, like, I have to it's almost like that feeling of having to overprove myself. There's, like, proving yourself, but then I feel like I have to push it even further solely because I'm assumed to not be what I am, or, like, in situations where I have even more control of a team or a crew or production, I feel like I have to be, like, even more on it, even less emotional. Not that I'm a particularly emotional person as is, like, I'm very like, I'm pretty, like, flatline constantly, but I feel like it's one of those things where, like, say I was producing something and I, like, ever so slightly firmed up my tone of it to someone to be like, "Okay, you need to, like, do this." It's sort of one of those things where you're like, "Ooh." Not that that's necessarily happened, but I'm so conscious of the fact that as a woman, we do get treated differently. And like, again, it's not a get back in the kitchen sort of different. It's much less literal than what it maybe used to be, but it's still definitely like, if a man was to get a bit snappy on a project, people might be like, "Oh, get a load of
It's
this guy,"
normal.
but like they
Yeah.
wouldn't really. But I think if a woman was to, she would be treated with a disadvantaged reaction. So it's kind of one of those things where in the back of my mind in any scenario, I'm kind of always thinking, people are watching, people are talking, people are thinking. Not in a conscious bad way, but it's always something where I'm just always a little bit hyper aware of how I'm acting, how I'm talking, how I'm behaving, just in order to
Yeah.
not be misperceived just because I'm a woman. Which may be me being super over cautious, which I hope it is, to be honest, but you never know. And I've definitely got um female friends in the industry who've had experiences of the sort, and it's very real. Just because I haven't experienced it personally doesn't mean it's not there. Like I've got friends who have, but it's not like a detrimental like issue as per se. Like, but I think it would be. There's hope for the future to have more women in these fields with a bit more education, I think.
But it also like just thinking about just like think about it that you are that's on your mind still when it's like all you want to do is just I just want to make shit. Like I just want to create shit, you
Mm,
know? And like it's so
yeah.
normal to you that you're saying it like, yeah, it doesn't really affect you, but you still have to think about it. I'm like, I don't know, man. Imagine you didn't have to think about all this stuff. You could probably you'd say and do whatever the you wanted and just, go out
Yeah.
there and just so it's kind of tough to hear. It really does suck. Yeah, hopefully it changes
Yeah,
because
I feel like it is it's going in the right
shifting.
direction now. It is. Again, it's slow, but slow is better than not at all. So I'll take it. And like I said, in London, like beautiful community, everyone is so lovely and so nice and so many like talented, amazing, lovely people. I have no bad words to say about the community here. So shout out
Yes.
London.
Yes. Yeah, shout out London. Honestly, everyone I've met from London, like, just have been amazing. Yeah, it's just like it's a really and it's cool that there's such a big creative community
Mm.
that kind of sticks together. I find that a
Yeah,
lot.
it's really not. To be fair, I do think we have the advantage of the fact that obviously London is quite small in comparison to like the States, for example. So
Yeah.
it is easier for like the creative community as a whole to be much more interlinked with each other. But it is really nice because I think something that was like super reassuring and nice for me was after a certain amount of years and a certain point of jobs in the industry, I started to realize that no matter what shoot or space I went to, I'd have at least one friend there or one person I know or one acquaintance there. And it just makes the work so much more fun. Like shooting live music, just, by yourself versus alongside a friend who's also working there. It's really nice and it's really fun. And I feel like the reason I started doing this, realized this would be a job, was because I enjoyed it and because it was fun. So I'm like, okay, obviously we need to take projects seriously, but like we can be serious and have fun at the same time. I feel like they can coexist as long as the job's getting done. So it's really
Yeah,
nice because I
yeah.
think I think at a point you go to jobs thinking, oh, all the rest of the crew know each other and I won't know anyone. And then you go there and you're like, oh, I haven't seen you in 2 years. Or, oh, we've spoken on Instagram before, which is really nice for me. I think it's that little familiarity is really, really nice. And over time, like, I'm genuinely at the point where I'll go to the most randomest of jobs or events or spaces and still bump into people I know. And it's so nice. So I love
Yeah,
it.
you're like, "What are you doing here? Like, this is
Yeah.
crazy." Like
Honestly, I love it though. I think it's really nice.
yeah, familiarity for sure.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, okay, cool. Okay, I just want maybe like one more video I want to ask you about.
Mhm.
Let's do this. Also, it's really nice too because the last couple interviews was with this girl Pear, and then the one before that was with this girl Lara, and I was telling them like my goddaughter's being born this week, right? Like my best friend is
Oh.
having a girl, and I have 5 godsons, so
Oh,
I don't
oh
have a
my gosh.
goddaughter. Yeah, I know, right? It's like who would show? Why do we? Why? You're kind of dissing though. Like I don't know why you acted surprised there. You're like you.
No, I'm s
All right, so
wow!
shit. No, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, yeah. Everyone's like, for real, they would choose your dumbass. Okay.
No.
No.
Well, I mean, I didn't say it, but no, I'm kidding,
Yeah.
I'm kidding, I'm kidding. That's quite cute
No.
though.
Yeah, so and it's my best friend. Like all the other ones have been not all the other ones, but most of the other ones have been family. And I feel like sometimes when they choose you to be the godparent, it's because it's family. But when your friends choose you, it's a different feeling.
Aw.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh man, you really trust me enough. So my best friend's having his first child, and it's a girl, and she was due like 2 days ago, and I was just hanging out. I took my nieces and nephews out like a couple days ago to do like Comic-Con, and then I took them out to do
Aw.
yeah, like all this kind of fun stuff. Um, and then I saw my friend and his partner. She's super pregos and like and we are just talking about I'm like, dude, I can't believe you're gonna be a dad, and he's always wanted to be a girl dad. So I was like, man, I can't imagine me, you, and her in the back seat, and we're just doing our usual thing, and now we just got a baby now, like a baby girl. Like I'm talking like it's my child.
I
I'm
was
like,
gonna say,
yeah,
I
then we
love that
got
you said "we."
yeah. I'm like, now we got to take care of this
That's why
baby
you're the
girl.
godfather. That right
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah, exactly, right. And I was just like thinking, I was like, man, I get to, especially doing the last two, like the last couple of interviews, or just me being in the industry to talk to a lot of people. I get to talk to a lot of women who are doing such cool things, and I can't wait for her to like watch these interviews and be like,
Mm.
oh, you really talk to some really cool women doing a lot of these cool things in this industry. So I was asking, like, even yesterday I did an interview. I was asking her, like, okay, if my goddaughter were to watch this in like 15 years, 20 years, like, what advice would you have for her? Because I feel like it'd be cool for her to be like, oh man, like, Uncle Kev got to like he was really thinking about me and like
That's
what
the
yeah.
cutest thing I've ever
Yeah,
heard.
yeah, yeah. So I'm hoping. That's why like this is so cool. I'm glad that you guys want to come on and talk about it, and like that's why I'm asking all these questions about it being male dominated field, and
Mm.
because it is tough for some people. Maybe they don't have thick skin and it's tough for them. So hopefully someone watches this. Maybe it's her and she's like, oh no, I want to do what Sarah does, or I want to do this, or So it'd
Yeah,
be
yeah.
cool. But yeah, that was just a little rant, but. I know she's gonna be born, and I'm so excited. I'm like, this like feels like it's my child. I'm like so
That's
excited.
really
I'm like,
cute though.
yeah. I'm
That's
like,
really
come on,
sweet.
cause you just released this yesterday. Hopefully, it's not too loud. I love black and white. I love black and white in general. Like there's just so many cool things. I think it's you really tend to look at the shot, I feel like, when it's black
Mm,
and white as opposed to all the great colors. And I know you talk about it here. Like usually the clients
yeah.
want to show off. Obviously, they want to show off the set and all that kind of stuff. Why did you choose to like edit this in black and white? And then does it change the way you look at the edit after you decide to do it in black and white?
Do you know what? This is so funny because I just edited this, I think, like three nights ago because I've been trying my best to be a bit more active on social media because I do not post. I think I've put up 3 posts on my feed this year, this being the 3rd, and we're about to like, we're nearly in April. I literally just had to check my phone to know what month it is. Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, this is
Sorry.
how
I don't know
crazy
if you realized
Sarah
that. I
she
went
is in just work mode or out
I
mode
just
all the time.
honestly, I don't know what year it is anymore. But yeah, I noticed I like had not posted enough on my feed. To be fair, this wasn't even meant to be a feed post. I was just trying to make a backlog of edits to have for my Instagram reels. So instead of me having to actively sit down and make something every time I want to post, I can just have a backlog ready to go.
Oh, is that how
And
you
this
like
is
work? Do you usually backlog your content?
not usually, but I
Oh.
just decided like I want to be more proactive posting like Instagram reels and TikToks because I feel like I don't utilize it enough. Um, so I just thought, you know what, because like we were talking about how sporadically busy I can get, I just thought if I have a day free, let me just plug in all my hard drives and create backlogs of edits, save them as drafts on my reels, and then even if I'm on a shoot or busy, I can just click post and it can be sorted. But I was making this one from footage from Reading Festival, which was last year in August, which I was booked on as a freelancer to handle photo and video, as like a freelance hybrid shooter. And I just had like a bunch of archive shots that some of them had been used in other edits and for client, but I just had loads that I never really used for anything, or they didn't go in the edits I did for whatever reason. And I was just like, the point was I was gonna do a reel just showing the power of black and white, and I actually edited the whole thing vertical in reels format, and I watched it back
Ah.
and I was like I'm genuinely, this edit only took me like 20-30 minutes. Like I just sat down and just banged it out,
Yeah.
and I was watching it in vertical and I was like, I actually feel like this could low key work quite well as a feed post. Like it feels main feed worthy, dare I say.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it definitely
so I
is.
I literally redid the project file into a different aspect ratio for feed, and I was like, so I actually like it.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, the black and white, there's just something so I don't even know how to explain it. I don't want to use the word cinematic because I feel like that's such a rinsed descriptive word, but it does
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
right, it
yeah.
does just
You
feel
it's like
so
you have to
cinematic
use
to
it,
me.
but you don't want to.
Yeah,
But
I'm like, what's another word for cinematic? But I do not know one. But I think there is something about it. It really does. It makes you focus on the subject so much more. Even little things like those crowd shots where I was like moving the camera around the crowd.
yeah.
That crowd jumping, like I'm not gonna lie, the if I was to grade that shot in color, it would not be anywhere near as cool of a shot as it was in black and white. I can't explain why. There's just something about it. I think that's the best description I can give is there's just something about it.
Yeah, yeah, there's a feeling. And I started as I was
Yeah.
watching it, I started to notice like your cuts were very much on very specific actions too that emphasize action a lot more and like that, like even like something like that movement. And then I noticed that you use a lot of like slow-mo stuff. So I was gonna ask you like at what frame rates are you shooting these at?
That's a very good question. So I do something quite unconventional, which I think is another blessing of being self-taught, is that I quite often don't do anything by the books, which some people are very against. I'm very pro. So I shoot whenever I'm doing festivals, pretty much I'd say 80% of all festivals I shoot, I'm shooting in 100 FPS, which a lot of people, obviously 25, I love the look of 25, But at festivals, it's back to what we were talking about earlier about the movements and sometimes stuff being so unexpected. Stuff like this shot here, where he's, squatting
Yeah.
down. This was a daytime performance that I knew there would be no CO2 fire, like fireworks, pyro production for. But what I didn't know was he was gonna be wearing this outfit with all these amazing tassels. When I looked at his outfit, I went, "Well, that's gonna look great in slow-mo," assuming he's an artist that
Mm.
moves about. Now, I'd never seen him before, I didn't really know much about his music, but I watched his set for a bit and realized he was moving about a lot, and as he was moving his arms, these little tassels on his outfit were flailing around. It was quite a windy day, and I just immediately, I was like, "Well, I'm gonna shoot in 100 FPS," and then I have option to either have it in slow-mo or not. Obviously, it doesn't have the same look when it's not in slow-mo as 25 would, but these tassels and the wind blowing and the way he was moving, and the same with there was, a female artist as well in this. I forgot her name, but she was wearing this, like, feather, like, sheer feathery sort of fabric that she kept, like, waving around in the wind, and again, I was just like that. I was just like, "Well, it has to be slow-mo. It has to be."
Yeah.
I
So you
I
shoot
quite
everything in like 100? Like the whole time you're there, you don't change it? Or is it very specific
I
moments?
it depends nowadays, I'm a bit more so when I'm freelance and I know I'm, like, putting this stuff onto my own drives, I know and I know how much I'm gonna be shooting. I'll shoot everything in 100 if it's a freelance job because I'm willing to use that storage space up on my drives because I know it'll be worth it. But if it's a project, like if it's a production company thing or if I'm working with a crew, I'll be a bit less selfish with it because I guess it is selfish to some degree because it makes the files so much bigger. So I'm a bit more conscious. Typically, what I tend to do if I'm working with crew is I'll do all of daytime stuff in 25 or maybe 50, but 25 or 50 for daytime. And then once it hits evening where production like pyro, CO2, fireworks would start going off, 50 or 100, dependent
Mm.
on variables. But I love shooting everything in 100, which a lot of people are like, that's criminal. But I love it because then you get options like this was all archived footage. If I would have shot this all in 25, I feel like it would not have been anywhere near as powerful if I couldn't do those slow-mo bits.
Yeah.
Like
O
there
on
was
those like certain beats and stuff. Like and it's just a slight
yeah.
slow-mo, which is
Yeah, I feel
cool.
like it makes such a big difference though. And I think there's one shot in here that I really liked of, I think he's called The Dare, where he's like going like that one there. I just thought it
Yeah.
was so funny. Like
Yeah.
I was watching it back and when it wasn't in slow-mo, you couldn't really see because he had such a stroby set. So you couldn't really see what was going on. I put it in
Oh, so
slow-mo and
you
he's
had
just
that one
straight face,
moment.
just like that. I was like, that's hilarious. Like such a powerful moment as well, but like super funny. Very on brand for what I know of his character as well. But I just thought that was one of those little shots where I was like, it's just such a fun shot that, like, it stands out quite a lot from all the rest of it, um, which I enjoyed. But this was, like, one of those happy accident edits where it was just meant to be, like, a very basic, like, Instagram reel, and then I finished it and I was like, I feel like a 20-minute edit isn't main feed worthy, but I was just like, "You know what? Like, fuck it. Why can't a 20-minute edit be a main feed thing? If it looks good, it looks good." So I put it
That's
up.
why and like no one and like yeah, maybe the edit is 20 minutes, but like you gotta think like this is a culmination of your whole career. Like you're the one getting these shots.
This is true.
You're
Yeah.
like look
Yeah.
how much you talked about just the frame rates, about like the technicalities of it,
Yeah.
and like you there's just so much that you put into your craft. Like okay, you saw the set, you saw the outfits, and you're like thinking, oh, that this is, there's just so much thought process in it. Yeah,
Yeah.
the edit might be fast, but the capturing of everything is like a culmination of
Do you
like
know
the
yeah,
stuff you
this is
do,
very
you
true,
know?
and that's I'm trying to get myself out of that mentality of, like I'm just trying to be a little bit less strict with myself about what feels like it's worthy for people to see. Because across my years, I realized I've got so much archived work that at this point will probably never see the light of day, not for any reason other than it's just so far past the point of when it would have been a posting point and I didn't post it, so now I'm trying to be a bit more like if I get something that feels like it's probably good, like, post worthy, I should just post it and instead of, like, sitting on it and umming and ahhing, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
this was a fun edit as well, and fun fact as well, another unconventional thing I do, I grade all my stuff in After Effects, like, I edit everything start to
Hold
finish
on.
After Effects. I don't even
Wait,
own Premiere
whoa.
Pro. I don't own Premiere Pro, DaVinci, I do everything in
Hold
After
on.
Effects.
You do? Wait a minute. What? You do the whole edit in After Effects? Like
Every
you
for my
don't?
whole since I started video, I've never done it differently. I've always done After Effects start to finish, including color grading. That whole black and white grade was just done in After Effects, which again, when I tell people, they're like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, I do, although I should learn DaVinci. I do need to learn DaVinci. But I feel like, again, at the end of the day, if I lied and told someone, "Oh, I, like, edited this in Premiere Pro and then graded it in DaVinci," they wouldn't know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
as long as the outcome is good. But I love After Effects. I love After Effects, but it's definitely unconventional.
Yeah, that's crazy that you learned. There's another creator who's kind of who was the same. I think he's since moved over to Vinci, but he was like,
He's grown up.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He was like, this is harder than it should be. No, but After Effects is crazy to learn first. It
Yeah.
just seems like a harder. Like you really jumped on the to into the deep end, but
Yeah, well, that
you
was
know,
my thought process. Like, I actively thought, which this is such a perfect description of how my brain works. I thought when I was learning video, let me learn the hardest one first, and then everything else is going to be transferable information. However, what then happened, correct theory, wrong execution. I then just enjoyed After Effects so much I just never left. So I learned like the hardest one. Technically could transfer that information, but then I just didn't.
yeah. And you know what? Whatever if the workflow is efficient for
This is what
you,
I'm saying.
cool.
This is I feel like if it does the job, it does the job at the end of the day. That's what matters, and it does the job.
Crazy.
So,
Yeah. Clearly, clearly does a job. Um. Okay. Cool. A one piece of advice that you would have for yourself who just starting out. Let's say you could talk to that girl who's like just bringing around that first camera to the festival,
ooh, okay.
or who's telling the parents gap year, knowing like this is a complete lie right now. You know what's that?
Yeah. I would say my one of my biggest things that I wish I did sooner, because I was quite shy when I first started. I was, like, very, very introverted and shy. Um, I would say be less scared in general. Be less anxious, be more down to speak to people. Because at the end of the day, I think something that's really key is networking, which I think has quite a negative connotation nowadays. Um, but networking in the sense of like the majority of my good jobs and, cool people I've met and good connects have come through word of mouth. Social media is great, but social media is not so great at transferring into real life, if that makes any sense. So I think when I when I eventually hit a point and I had a word with myself where I was like, okay, I need to like stop being so scared to speak to people. I need to stop like clinging to the wall out of fear of seeming weird or talkative or, goofy or whatever. I think if I would have done that even younger, it would have benefited me in so many ways. Um, but I think, yeah, I think my like big thing is just like talk to people. Don't be so scared. Don't be so shy. Like, honestly, like so many people, a lot of creatives are introverts, like especially editors and I forgot it's all a bunch of nerdy creatives to be honest, which is really nice because I think I was very like daunted by the people who I saw around me who seemed so knowledgeable and cool and I was like scared to ask questions or say anything in case I sounded dumb and then I realized everyone else has been here or is here. They just aren't showing it. But like, just when I let down that guard and I was like, I'm just gonna say what I wanna like, say what I'm thinking or ask questions or not be scared to, like, walk up to someone and be like, "Hi, like, I like your work. Like, can you educate me or tell me something?" Made a massive difference. And nowadays, I don't stop talking. I talk too much now. So, but it's really important. I think the reason I talk so much now and everyone's always like, "Oh, Shari, you're so friendly. You're so good at making friends." Like, if I walk into a room, I will immediately try and befriend everyone. But I think it comes from all those prior years of me being such the opposite. Like, I had such bad social anxiety. I couldn't leave my house. I couldn't go to restaurants because I was too scared to speak to waiters. Like, I
Really,
couldn't
that
speak
it was that bad?
super bad. Like, my parents had to, like, exposure therapy me out of it, and it didn't work. But I was petrified. Like, I couldn't speak to anyone, like, any strangers, anyone in public. I found it really hard to make friends with people unless like, if I was with other people and I, like, made friends by proxy of someone else, I was kind of okay, but, like, if I was put in a room, I didn't know anyone else, and I had to, like, talk to people, I would like, when I was younger, I would've just started crying. But nowadays, I'm like, "Yeah, fucking go on, let's go, who's it?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
They're crying. Yeah.
I'm not gonna cry. But I think it is really
Yeah.
important. It's obviously it's difficult, like coming from someone who very much went from one end of the spectrum to the other. Um, but it's really, really important. And it really improves your experience. Back to like the community I was talking about. Having community is so important and you can't have that without willing to be a part of it yourself, if that makes any sense. Um, but yeah, that's like my main thing, which to be honest is applicable to it's not just for people who do what I do for work. It's I'd say for pretty much anyone. Like in general, it's like more of a life lessony thing than directly relevant to work. But yeah, really made a big difference for me. So I
Wow.
would say that.
I would have never guessed that you were.
Well, do you know what? When I don't really have any childhood friends, but I have friends from when I was a teenager. Um, and those couple of friends who I was really close with when I was in secondary school, whenever they see me nowadays, they're always like, "We just can't believe
Yeah, yeah.
that you've
Who
ended up
is
like
this?
this."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
they always say that, like, "You used to be, like, so weird and shy and, like, odd, and now you're, like, you wanna talk to everyone and be friend." Like, it's they always say it's so crazy to see, which is really nice for me to hear because it means I've done what I set out to do, which was, improve and switch up bad
Yeah.
habits, I guess. Well, it's not a bad habit, but for me, it was affecting my work in a bad way, so I considered it a personal bad habit. But yeah, that'd be my main thing.